This is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for a new top 10 list. Today, you hear SoulCalibur music in the background, and that's because today is the top 10 SoulCalibur characters from the franchise. So, which is very iconic, and lately I've been doing a lot of gameplays and playthroughs with SoulCalibur 2, so I thought it was only right I would do a top 10 SoulCalibur characters list. Now these are based on a lot of fan favorites, of course, as well as distinctive, iconic characters from the franchise as a whole. First, today I will be doing honorable mentions first. Edgemaster, Lizardman, Rock, Cassandra, Charade, Leylong, Necre, Setsuka, Tira. And yes, there will be a lot of ties on this list. So with that said, coming in at number 10, Wong, or Huang. But of course, this is a character that actually debuted in Soul Blade or Soul Edge in Japan. Very iconic character with his styles of kicks and his sword fighting, and as well as, of course, he was in Soul Calibur, the original. He would return in Soul Calibur 2, but not as himself. He would return as instead a character called Assassin, which you couldn't play in normal arcade mode with him. You could only play in, like, you know, the travel mode where you go across to unlock things. As well as in, like, team battle and things like that, you could play with him. Now, coming in at number 9 is a tie between two characters that debuted in Soul Calibur 2. The first of which is one of my personal favorites, easily my top, maybe 3 personal favorite characters of Soul Calibur 2. And one of my favorites in the Soul Calibur franchise, just because she was a really nice character and had no real desire for power, which wasn't the case in most characters in this franchise. And that is Talon. And the other one debuted, but became a little bit more important in key. But either way, you would end up playing against this particular guy with all the special characters. And of course, that is Raphael, which you had to play against, whether you play with Heihachi Mishima, also whether you play with Link. Oh yeah, and also, I want to quickly say on this list, it excludes all guest characters. With that said, coming in at number 8 is definitely a fan favorite. It's been pretty much every game in the series thus far. Mitsurugi, which of course was a Japanese samurai. Very well distinctive character, definitely of the franchise as a whole. Definitely an important character to the franchise as we see the story develop over time. And he had, of course, a desire, somewhat of a desire for power, though he's technically not evil himself, but the sword note has ways, of course, of corrupting these characters one way or the other. Coming in at number 7 is another fan favorite. It's been since Soul Blade, Song Mina, which is definitely an awesome character. A lot of her kicks and stuff in the game are very similar to Wong. Like her triple kick and some of hers, though she also uses, of course, her weapon, Blade Staff, and also has some of the same moves as other characters in the game. And of course, she is useful in definitely long-range attacks because of her long reach with her weapon. Coming in at number 6 is another tie between two interesting, kinky characters. Ivy, the dominatrix of the franchise, which her weapon, of course, can both be a sword and a whip, which is kind of cool. Very useful. Her sword's good for short-range attacks, and her whip is good for long-range attacks. And tied with her is the other, I'd say, kinky character in the game, Volden, which is very unusual and one of the most unique characters in any fighting game I've ever played. But he's definitely become a fan favorite throughout the years, same as Ivy has become a major fan favorite. And coming in at number 5 is a three-way tie between all three friends, which were debuted in the first Soul Calibur. One of them, of course, he knew his father, Lei Long. And that is Killick, Maxi, and and Chantois, which are all interesting characters, I will say. By far, a lot of people, I think, prefer Maxi, though he's good for short range. But never underestimate Chantois. She's very useful herself, but Killick is amazing when it comes to long-range attacks. But he can defend himself even at short range as well, which is what makes him such a very useful character to play with, as long as you can get the hang of using his staff attacks. Number 4 is another tie. It was kind of hard to just choose particular, had to do a lot of ties because I don't really want to get yelled at by some of the other fellow fans of the franchise. And that is 2 which debut in the very first game, Sulfithia and Taki, which hands down is awesome. Taki is a very useful character. As long as you can get a good hang of her abilities, trust me, she can be one of the most deadly characters in the game. Her speed. Sulfithia is also really good when it comes to blocking attacks. Defensively, is very useful. Tide is technically 2 versions of the same character. Zossalamal, which debuted in, of course, Soul Calibur 3. And the main boss of Soul Calibur 3, the alter ego, the souped-up version of Zossalamal, which is a very cheap boss, I might add. Abyss. Coming in at number 2 is a tie between 2 very familiar characters. Number 2 is a tie between the main boss of Soul Calibur 1 and 2, and that is Inferno. And he technically, originally, he was called Soul Edge and Soul Blade, and the main boss in Soul Blade, tied with Inferno, is Cervantes de Leon, French pirate. Interesting character, and of course the father of Ivy. Coming in at number 1 is a tie between the 2 alter egos, the face of the franchise. This is a tie at number 1 between Siegfried, the German prince, and his ultimate first alter ego when he was possessed by Soul Edge, and is, of course, becomes his alter ego, gets separated from him, and that is the ultimate real villain of the franchise. He debuted in Soul Calibur and survives and becomes basically the main evil antagonist of Soul Calibur 5. Though he's a big importance in Soul Calibur 1 and 2, he then, of course, separates from Siegfried in Soul Calibur 3 and is really a secondary boss behind Abyss. And, of course, he has an ultimate form called Night Terror. And, of course, tied with Siegfried is Nightmare. The figurehead of the Soul Calibur franchise, hands down, is the most iconic character in this series of incredible fighting, weapon-based combat games. But please leave a comment below. Tell me who your favorite Soul Calibur characters are. And please thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, as well as at Google+. And I hope you enjoyed the Soul Calibur music in the background, and I'll see you all next time here in YouTube land. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. And my next upcoming review, very next one, will be the review for the Xbox game Sega GT 2002. And then later on will be, of course, stage 15 of Street Fighter, the Ultimate Edition. So stay tuned for those 2 upcoming reviews. And like I said before yesterday on message, in my update video, I'm not going to be able to do the playthrough of SoulCalibur 2 with Heihachi Mishima. I'm having technical difficulties with my PS2 game. It keeps freezing at the 6th stage for some odd reason. So I'm going to have to try and find a replacement on eBay or Amazon. So until then, I won't be able to do Heihachi Mishima. But eventually I will get it done. But I'll see you next time for the next upcoming game with you.